Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Jeff Iafrate, myself, Adham, Beydoun. Of course, there's fish in the booth. You know, what are you going to do? You just have to deal with what you have to deal with every morning, right? We're all persevering through something in life. Fish, I deal with you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm doing good. It's Thursday. We got Thursday Night Football. The weekend's coming up.
Good. I'm glad you finally
good games
acknowledged
going on.
what real football is. Thank you.
I mean, I acknowledge everything.
I know, buddy.
So-
That's your special skill. God bless you.
But big games this weekend. There's an NFL game in London on Sunday.
There is. What is it, 9:30 kickoff?
9:30
Or
kickoff.
8:30?
9:30.
9:30?
Gonna have a full day of football. 9:30.
My wife
Yeah.
is not going to like that.
9:30 to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
So, so I wake up already on Sundays at 7. I make coffee.
You guys wake up earlier now.
Well,
Maybe 6.
I wake up.
5.
I start working a little
Prime
bit.
time for me.
And then I get ready to leave around, 8:30, 8:45-ish. I get here around 9:15.
That's how early you get here?
Well, yeah. So I'm preparing for the Sunday broadcast. And then I don't get home till 2 o'clock, whatever it may be, 1:30, 2
You're not
o'clock.
getting home till midnight now.
Well, no. I mean, now there's going to be football on during that time, so she's going to hate me a little more. But it's okay. She'll deal with it. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
How's everybody doing? All right, we're going to pin the call number in the chat. Make sure you guys are calling in. We want to hear your opinions throughout the show. We're going to have a jam-packed show. J.J. McCarthy coming up at 8:15. DK Metcalf's comments on Jeff Okudah.
Ooh.
Safety help. How much are we buying into Jeff Okudah really becoming a shutdown corner? Or is Aaron Glenn just doing a hell of a job, putting together some coverage? TJ Hockenson, top of the hour. A very interesting piece here. Are Lions fans out of touch by saying that winning is all that matters? Jeff Risdon tweeted something very interesting yesterday. And I understand why he got the reaction he did. But I understand what he's saying. But there has to be a little context. So we'll do that top of the hour. Definitely want to share my opinion on that along with Jeff. We got to talk about Mel Tucker and Michigan State. It's not looking good. They're 2-2. Big game against Maryland this weekend. So much more. But let's just get the show started. The injuries continue to pile up for the Detroit Lions. Jeff, Jonah Jackson likely to miss this weekend. DeAndre Swift likely to miss this weekend. You are right now opening at a 4-point favorite. You are now a 4.5-point favorite the last I checked. I find it very difficult, especially if Amon-Ra St. Brown is not available.
Yeah,
which it seems like he will be. But in what capacity?
Right.
You are going to be relying on two things. One, a stout defensive effort against an offense that basically just ran up and down the field against Atlanta's defense, which I'm not saying is the Detroit Lions, but we saw them play against each other in preseason and neither looked good. And then you're going to have to rely on Jared Goff and really Craig Reynolds, Jamal Williams. Are they going to hit a home run for you? Probably not. It's going to be a sloppy game. There's a lot to play for, but the injuries continue to pile up. Jeff, unlucky?
The unlucky
It's
thing.
part of the NFL.
Yeah, right. It's part of the NFL. A lot of teams are banged up, and that's the scary part of what the Lions are dealing with right now, because you mentioned it. Amon-Ra and St. Brown, and DeAndre Swift. Dan Campbell mentioned how they're kind of on the same timeline, where something significant would have to happen for those guys to play. But the terrifying part is, Adam, the guys who are playing, DJ Chark and Josh Reynolds, are both also on the injury report with an ankle injury. So those guys are probably going to play. Dan Campbell alluded to that. But on top of it, they're going to play banged up. This is the reality of it. You're still not going to have Jonah Jackson. You're going to have backup offensive linemen. You're going to be utilizing now Jamal, Craig, and even Justin Jackson. They're going to have to come out with a win. At least it's at home. That's the benefit of the doubt. But for Seattle, I mean, this is a team that's like top 5 in red zone defense. So not only are you missing arguably your 2 best weapons on offense, you got to find a way to score. And the Lions so far are, 4th in touchdown percentage getting it in the red zone. So they've been successful at it, but they're going to be missing 2 valuable pieces at them on how they usually get there. So it's definitely going to be a struggle, but they're going to have to figure it out. And guys are going to have to step up, which we will get to later. And I think TJ Hockenson might be one of those guys.
Yeah, look, I mean, on the reserve list alone, you have Tracy Walker. His season's over.
Right.
Jerry Jacobs eligible, and everybody I'm about to list is eligible to return in week 5 or 6. Okay? Jerry Jacobs, Josh Pascal, Romeo Okwara, Levi Onwuzurike, Tommy Kramer, Vaitai, Jameson Williams, Jason Kabinda. That is already almost 10 individuals that you have just on the reserve list. The players that didn't practice yesterday: DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, TJ Hockenson, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, John Kaminsky, Chris Board, Bobby Price, Austin Seaver. The thing I noticed was Aiden Hutchinson didn't make the list, but he was dealing with an injury on Sunday. So is he just better?
Yeah. I think it was a Charlie horse, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's something that would heal up over the week.
Fine, but he was a no-show on Sunday.
Right.
In Minnesota. That cannot happen.
No.
And you know what? You want to label it a must-win game. We can have that conversation maybe tomorrow. But I need my players that I just read off available. Swift, I have to accept I'm probably not going to have him.
No, yeah.
But Hutchinson, he didn't make the list. Good sign. But I'm expecting a performance out of him. I'm expecting more from him and Charles Harris.
Yeah, on an offensive line that gave up, I believe, 3 sacks last week. So they're prone to giving up sacks.
And Geno is no Jalen Hurts.
No, he's not. Not as mobile as he used to be.
So what I'm looking at right now is if you can get me Aiden Hutchinson, 90% of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I think that's enough. But if you go into Sunday, no Swift, no St. Brown, Jonah Jackson, it looks like he's not playing.
No, the injury is
This is
up.
just becoming almost one hand tied behind your back at the moment. And not that they can't figure it out or find a way to win. They still have the ability to do so. But boy, if I asked you the simple question, who are your 2 biggest playmakers, Jeff? Who would you answer with?
Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift.
Who has arguably been the best running back since the season started in the NFL, or one of the 4 or 5 best?
DeAndre Swift.
Most explosive.
DeAndre Swift.
Who's been a top 10 wide receiver to start the year?
That would be Amon-Ra.
You need your playmakers. Players make plays, right? You need those guys. You saw how the offense changed once St. Brown hobbled and hurt his ankle, right? He was hobbling around. He wasn't the same. Routes weren't as crisp. He made a few plays here and there, but not 8, 9, 10 catches like it probably would have been had he been healthy.
Right.
So there is a lot of work to do. The injuries just continue to be there, more so than not. And, we talked about the trainer getting let go and all these things that happened last year. And then this year, it's how long do I have to wait for Swift to get right? It's a shoulder sprain now? Yet all off season. You were healthy.
It's
you
funny.
look good.
It's funny because Dan, and I don't think he meant this in any, ill manner, but he mentioned how, they asked about the DeAndre Swift injury at his press conference, and the first thing he said was, "We've been ready for this." He's like, especially given his position, we knew he wouldn't be able to last a full season. So he kind of already alluded to that. So listen, they're ready and they're prepared. And on top of that, you already have Jared Goff, who has chemistry with some of these receivers who aren't playing right now, like Quintez Cephas. So there's that rapport already established from last year because of the injuries they suffered last year. I mean, they didn't have DJ Chark last year. Guys had to step up. So I don't think they're going to have. It's not like you got to hit the panic button. But it isn't a good thing. I mean, you're facing a Seattle team, which we would all agree the Lions on paper are better than the Seattle Seahawks. But Seattle ain't no pushover. And this is a team that, is under overlooked every single week, and they found a way to win. Almost beat the Denver Broncos, lost to played a tough game last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Like, this team is going to play it tough. They're probably going to score minimum, 21, 24 points. The Lions got to find a way to score at least 24, 27, maybe even 31 points without their two best playmakers potentially. So it's not a situation you got to be in, Adam, but this is the reality of the NFL. Like, this is what we talk about. This is why these wins so early in the season are so, astronomical. Like, they're super important because your team is fully healthy. Now you're going to lose guys. That's just the reality. And hopefully you get DeAndre Swift back 100% healthy for the rest of the season. You don't want him to miss all this time. Even though I love Jamal and I loved Craig Reynolds, that's your X factor, along with Amon-Ra on offense. Those guys are, super important. Now you're putting a lot of pressure on guys you just haven't seen step up. Like, I need TJ to. Haven't seen it, but you need him to. DJ Chark, you need him to have a big game. Josh Reynolds, he played well last game. That's a guy that I can see having another big game. But besides that, they got to find a way to win, Adam.
I agree 100%. Look, speaking of finding a way to win, this is a team that has been involved in all the games this year so far. You like what you see. You can take a lot of positives through 3 weeks. Also take a lot of negatives. However you want to take it, it's up to you. But I think right now, there's no other way I can spell out Sunday for you without bringing up injuries. Mm-hmm. It's going to play a factor. Whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you want to have to talk about it or not. It is a big dent. Excuse me. It's a big hole not to have a DeAndre Swift. You saw what he does for the offense.
Right.
It would be even worse without St. Brown. Looks like St. Brown likely will go, but the conversation does need to be, are we setting him back? If he plays, you still have a whole season ahead of you. I still think you can compete with Seattle even if Swift and St. Brown are out of the lineup. I just believe your margin for error is smaller and smaller. But regardless, when we get back, J.J. McCarthy, what he must do to ensure that Michigan repeat as Big Ten champions. You guys know I'm a big fan of Michigan's roster at the moment, especially offensively. They are looking very, very good. Blake Corum, explosive. You have Donovan Edwards coming back pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Ronnie Bell. You have Andrel Anthony. You have Roman Wilson. I like what I see out of Michigan, but we saw the hero ball. And that is something J.J. McCarthy needs to understand he can't do all the time, or it's going to cost them against Iowa on the road,
right?
Michigan State at home, Penn State, Ohio State, any relevant team, it will cost you. So we'll get to that and more in just a bit. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
For a limited time only, guys, the all-new burgers and fries are located at Big Boy. It's not just a Slim Jim. They have the Big Jim, the chili cheeseburger, as well as the bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? They have the chili cheese fries, the baked potato fries, or the nacho fries. You can satisfy your taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
We are the network for Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll get all the best deals, plus they'll beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. 26 locations and more on the way.
All right, we are back live here on the Morning Woodward Show. 8:15. Why the hell is this happening? What's going on here? I see what's going on. Never mind. We're good. False alarm, ladies and gentlemen. We're good. Anyways, J.J. McCarthy, Jeff, look, they are the reigning, and they, as in Michigan, are the reigning Big Ten champions. They were champions last season for a reason. They were the best team in the Big Ten.
Right.
The defense was the best, arguably easily in the Big Ten, and almost one of the better defenses in the country. I would say top 3, top 5 for sure. That pass rush was unbelievable. It had Ojabo, Hutchinson. You had Dax Hill in the secondary. And you had a offensive line that could control the line of scrimmage, and you were able to run the ball so effectively. And a lot of those pieces did go away, but you still have the identity to be able to run the football. Now take your chances downfield with J.J. McCarthy, Ronnie Bell, and whoever else it may be. You have an explosive home run hitting back like Blake Corum. But, you know, I'm not too concerned with Michigan losing many games this year. Outside of Ohio State and maybe this weekend on the road to Iowa, as that is where top 5 teams go to die. And my question is, we need to answer what J.J. McCarthy must do to steady the ship. Because, look, I saw a lot of positives. And if I would have read you the box score, by the way, between Michigan and Maryland, and you didn't know who started at quarterback. If I was to actually read you off the box score, and I told you that the starting quarterback of Michigan was 18 of 26, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's a pretty good game.
You would say, oh, well, yeah, Dave, that looks like a Cade McNamara stat line, right? No turnovers. Pretty good completion percentage. 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Well done.
How many pass attempts did he have?
26.
I don't know if that's a...
More than Cade. I know, but...
I'm joking.
You get where I'm going,
I get what
though,
you're saying.
right?
Yeah, no, I
but
get
if
you
you watch the game, I mean, he made some plays that were unbelievable.
Then he had some plays where...
And then some plays where you were like, can you please not do that? Hello? Like, I wish I could talk through the TV into his headset. Can you not? Can you not
play
throw
a little bit of hero ball?
What should have been an interception? Could you not fumble the ball twice? Could you just not? You can't afford that against Iowa. You can't afford it against Michigan State, Ohio State. You can't.
Right.
And as much as I love the kid, and as much as I think he is absolutely going to be a stud at Michigan, those are aspects of his game I can't argue with any of you at home. He needs to clean it up. But that was his first Big Ten start, right? So context also matters. His 4th career start, well, technically 3rd, actually, excuse me. His 3rd career start. This will be his 4th one this weekend. It is a maturation process with him, like it is with many young college quarterbacks. But, Jeff, you know what the difference is? If he can get past Iowa this weekend, clean, you have a 5-game runway, legitimately, even against Michigan State, who I don't think will beat Michigan this year. You have a 5-6 game window before Ohio State where your quarterback will be able to make mistakes but also grow and learn without being punished too hard, given I think you're a better team than everybody else on your schedule. Mm-hmm. So it's there, but you got to get past Iowa. And J.J. McCarthy, you got to take care of the football. You haven't turned it over yet, right? He hasn't thrown an interception yet. But we've all seen it. We've all seen a few erratic plays that you just, you know what? We don't want to see that.
Right.
Clean it up, kid. Stop fumbling the ball when you're running. Stop fumbling a snap. Stop fumbling an exchange. Whatever it may be, stop it. Got to be more fundamental. I think he's more than capable of doing it, Jeff. But that is what he's going to have to do to ensure Michigan can not only compete, but win the Big Ten.
And I think you made a good point, too, about Ohio State being the last game of the year. And it's actually a benefit for J.J. McCarthy to get all this experience, especially in the Big Ten. Now just winning his first Big Ten matchup after the 3 games he had where it was one of the 3 worst teams in college football. It's hard to evaluate him, but now you get to see him against Maryland. And like you said, as much as he struggled statistically, didn't have a bad game. And the question is, JJ must do what to ensure Michigan repeat as Big Ten champs? Well, it's not all JJ. It's that defense. And Anthony brought it up too, that pass rush specifically. They're going to have to show up. But on top of that with JJ, it's really just about playing with that poise. And I get it was against UConn. I get it was against Hawaii. I get it was against Colorado State partially. But that poise he has where he's more decisive. Because you saw in the Maryland game, him playing hero ball, like that can't happen against Iowa. That can't happen against Ohio State. Like there's got to be a time and a place, and especially with J.J. McCarthy, like you said, gaining all this experience. You're going to play Penn State in about a month, a little less than a month. He's going to get the competition before Ohio State. It's just about how he learns and how he's going to probably throw an interception before Ohio State too. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, all Michigan fans, Sam Flannel. He's going to throw an interception. The thing you have to look for is how he responds back from it. And you need Donovan Edwards, obviously. He's got the offensive pieces. The offensive line didn't play as great as you'd like them to in pass protection against Maryland. They were able to run the ball. So obviously it's not all going to be on J.J. McCarthy's shoulders. That Michigan offense is almost, even if J.J. turns into partially a game manager, he's still throwing 11 yards per attempt. I mean, he just looks like completely different than Cade McNamara. So he just got to continue to do his job and play with that same poise, which the poise comes from the experience. And the more games he gets under his belt in the Big Ten, Adam, he's going to get better and better and better. And I think that'll set him up to play State in a game where I think they will beat them as well. I'm right with you. I think that secondary, there's a lot of issues over at Michigan State.
One of the things you can see from watching J.J. McCarthy is, I don't want to say it's all indecisiveness, but he is holding on to the ball way too long. When you go on the road at that stadium, that atmosphere,
right,
with that defense, which is a damn good defense, you cannot be indecisive against Iowa. You cannot hold on to that football for an additional second.
It's almost like you're looking for that big play.
Because that is the difference between throwing into zone for a completion or a tipped ball, deflection, or dare I say interception. That's it. That's all it takes. And I would say he's trying to be perfect. Now, has he been punished yet? No, he hasn't. Do I think he will be punished if he continues to make those mistakes against Iowa? Yes, he will. But I have enough confidence not only in this team, this offense. I still believe he's able to overcome those mistakes. You just don't want to see them on the road against a team, let's all be honest. They have, 5-1 over their last 6 games at Kinnick Stadium against top 5 rated opponents. Good luck. It's a tough matchup, man. Yes, they smashed them in the Big Ten Championship last year. Who cares? That was at a neutral site. On the road. Huge game. Iowa's going to be up for it. I know Blake Corum. I know what I'm getting out of Michigan. I know the defense. I'm not too concerned with them giving up 24, 30 points to Iowa. If Iowa's going to win this game, it'll be 17-13, 13-10, where they just completely stifle Michigan's offense. Mm-hmm. They take advantage of a few turnovers and get some points. I'm not too worried about Iowa moving the ball. But you know what? To be honest, Jeff, I'm not worried about Michigan moving the ball. I think Michigan can win this game 34-10. I really have no concerns going into Saturday, outside of, is J.J. McCarthy going to continue to try to be Johnny Manziel-ish, where every play needs to be the highlight ESPN rule? How about, and you know what, look, for all of Cade's, for all the stuff we say about Cade, there are moments where those checkdowns are really nice. There are moments where throwing it away instead of holding it on for half a second, trying to make a decision, then getting under pressure and taking an additional hit just aren't necessary. Cade does that well, right? JJ doesn't yet, and he'll get better as time goes on. And I'm not too concerned unless, again, it's resulting in, hey, I'm going to hold on to the ball. I'm going to try to be perfect. Just take what's there. You have Blake Corum. You're going to have Donovan Edwards. You have a lot of playmakers around you. Sometimes just chill.
Right.
It doesn't need to be I'm running sideline to sideline for a first down and everyone's like, what did JJ just do? We don't need that every time. And he'll learn. Like I said, It's only 3 starts into his young
Cade
career.
does that, but Cade's also much more experienced. So
Saturday will be his 4th start. He is developing these reps. And I think by Game 7, Game 8, you're going to see a lot of this out of him. Like that would have been more than enough snaps, more than enough game time, game experience for him to just really kind of put those away from him. Hey, you know what? I'm not taking this today. All right, you know what? We're on the road. We're up 3, third and 7. I don't need to be throwing an interception here. Everybody's covered. I'm just throwing this away. We're going to punt. Our defense has been really good. I know I'm going to get the ball back. We'll get them next time. You got to live, and you got to let the game come to you sometimes too. So if you guys want to call in, 313-552-6322. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Michigan Wolverines.
I think another point of it is, too, with Iowa, they're going to make you play their game. And that's the thing that Michigan's going to have to face this week. I mean, you're playing an Iowa team that their highest scoring game of the season is back-to-back 27-point games. Like, they're not going to beat you 30-something to 20-something. Like you said, they're going to have to – if Iowa wins this game, it's going to be, a low score. Like, the over-under is 42 right now. And I think with Iowa – and their pass defense, I don't see J.J. McCarthy struggling necessarily, but Iowa can stop the run. And I know, Michigan's a different animal in terms of what they bring with their O-line and their running backs, but that's a concern. If you can run the ball, that's going to be the game plan, because with J.J. McCarthy, like you said, got to get rid of the football quickly. That's something we, praised Cade about, but the other things we didn't like necessarily. With J.J., he brings all this upside, but he's got to learn to take some of those things from Cade in terms of getting rid of the ball and being decisive really quickly, not holding on to it for the big play, because this Iowa defense will get home, and that's going to be the big thing I'm looking for. So this week's going to be interesting. We'll be covering it all on Saturday for that college pregame show for sure.
Absolutely. Fair enough. Well, look, let's take a quick pause. When we get back, DK Metcalf said he's not worried about Jeff Okudah, points out that he has a ton of safety help through 3 games. He says he's still a good corner, but he's not a shutdown corner. We'll get to that and more. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Odds Trader.
OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price on every game from multiple sportsbooks. Thursday night football is on tonight. You have Cincinnati Bengals, Miami Dolphins. Pick one. Go place a bet, make some money. Go to OddsTrader.com right now for your best bet.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
We are back, 8:28 here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody in the Woodward Sports chat for joining us. The call line is available, 313-552-6322. It is pinned at the top of the chat. Jeff, we've given Jeff Okudah a ton of praise through 3 weeks. We've understood there was a lot of bracket coverage against Justin Jefferson.
It's not like it was a Okudah Island over there.
But you know what? I want to revisit Monday's conversation before we get to Metcalf. And Monday's conversation, or let's back up even more than that. Who did I compare his play at the line of scrimmage to?
Jalen Ramsey.
That's all you need to know. At the line of scrimmage, I understand he is getting help. Rightfully so. You don't want to leave anybody one-on-one with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's
none of these guys.
That's an obvious one, right?
But at the line of scrimmage, that had more to do with anything, in my opinion. His physicality at the line of scrimmage. So yes, I do agree with Metcalf's comments, though. It's nothing but the truth. He had a ton of safety help, but he's a damn good corner. And he's a good corner because of his play at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
That safety help is allowing him to play press man. He's getting up in whoever it is. And last week it was Justin Jefferson. And like I said, anytime you could pause the screen, just go back and watch. Anytime you'd pause the screen, pause the game, wherever Justin Jefferson was, Okudah was in the vicinity, along with another Detroit Lions, sometimes even 2 more.
Right.
That was the game plan. It was a good game plan. It worked. It worked. Now, did you have busted coverage with KJ Osborne and everything else? Yeah, but right now I want to talk about Jeff Okudah. Through 3 games, I think he has shown the player he can be. Now, is he somebody you're going to leave out on an island? I don't think, 1, they should do that.
No.
And 2, he's not, I don't want to say he's not capable, but I don't think he's there yet. This will be his, 12th career start?
Mm-hmm. Coming off an Achilles injury.
This will be his 4th game coming off an Achilles. He played 10, so it's actually his 15th start. 15th total game. He hasn't even played a full season yet. DK Metcalf comes out, like I said, says he's a damn good corner, but he had a ton of safety help. Are you worried that we are maybe ahead of ourselves on the Jeff Okudah praise and his performances early on this year, given the reality is there is a ton of safety help with Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin, more notably Justin Jefferson? It was obvious. A lot of what he did against Devontae Smith was on his own, but we have to take that with a pinch of salt because A.J. Brown was tearing apart the Detroit Lions, and so was Miles Sanders. So regardless, Jeff, your thoughts on DK Metcalf?
I don't have necessarily a problem with what he said, because he did say he's a good corner. He said the reality, which was Jeff Okudah did get safety help on Justin Jefferson. But also, I might add, whenever Justin Jefferson was in the middle of the field and it was him and Jeff Okudah, Jeff would make a play on the ball. I mean, there was one time where I think he had a pass deflection on Justin Jefferson. Those things you can look at and see the improvements on Jeff Okudah. But overall, it's not like you're going to put Okudah on one side of the field and call it Okudah Island. He's not there yet. And I don't think really there's any corner in the league you're doing that with, especially with the top wide receivers in this league. You're going to want safety help. And there was times I went back and watched, because after these comments came out, I wanted to go watch every snap, or most snaps, with Jeff and Justin Jefferson one-on-one. I wanted to go back and watch. And one thing I noticed was Justin Jefferson did beat Jeff Okudah a couple times at the line of scrimmage. But that's the point of having safety help. Why if you know that Justin Jefferson is that dude, or anybody in the league is that dude, Javonte Adams, you're not going to put him one-on-one. You're going to want safety help, especially over the top. But right now, Tracy Walker's injured. So you're going to have Deshaun Elliott out there. But besides that, Juju Hughes. So I'm curious what safety help Jeff Okudah is going to have this week. You're still going to want to send somebody. DK's a threat downfield. You saw the pass Geno Smith had last week on the Atlanta Falcons in the red zone. DK mossed like 2 people. So you're going to want safety help. But with Jeff Okudah, why Lions fans are so high on him as opposed to nationally is because we understand what he's went through. We understand what he's had to overcome. And to get to this point, I'm not going to sit here and say he shut down all these receivers, but he played well, Adam. I mean, not a lot of corners nowadays. You could talk about shutting guys down besides Darius Slay, and he's one of the best corners in the NFL right now. So if Jeff Okudah can make an impact on a week-to-week basis and be our best corner, Lions fans are allowed to have praise for him. But DK, it's going to be interesting this week, because I think this is the matchup we're going to be watching, is Jeff Okudah on DK Metcalf. And I think last year, Jeff Okudah wasn't there, but DK had 3 touchdown catches. I know it was with Russell Wilson as well against the Lions last year, but I don't really think it's that big a deal that Lions fans are very high on Jeff Okudah. Like, this is what you want to talk about, the good things you see with Jeff. The fact that he has safety help or not, I mean, who cares? Aaron Glenn put together a really good game plan against Justin Jefferson, and it was enough. Obviously, 3 catches for 14 yards. It was effective. And I know Iffy will be out there too this week. We'll see. But overall, Adam, I mean, these comments are irrelevant. It's just DK watching film and stating the obvious. Yes, he had safety help, but that doesn't take away from how well he played.
Who are you more concerned with heading into Sunday? Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf?
DK.
Really?
Yeah. Because those big plays. Like DK can, Tyler Lockett can take some chunks off, but DK's that, I mean, he's your red zone target. He's your, especially on this, you saw what KJ Osborne did? Imagine if that was DK Metcalf. Like, you're not catching him. So I would probably say DK. Or maybe you put Amani on DK because he's slightly taller, and then you put Jeff Okudah on Tyler Lockett. I think it's either way, but Amani's got to play better, though, to be able to say to put him on DK.
That's the thing. Have we ever scolded Amani Owarie outside of Monday?
No.
Have we ever walked in on a Monday and said, man, this kid sucked on Sunday.
No, coming off a back injury, I mean, he
well,
struggled.
there's that, and the reality is he's been a very good corner for the last 12, 14, 16 months.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and just completely forget that. Awful performance against Minnesota? Absolutely. Not a fan of it at all. Way too many penalties. He literally couldn't guard anybody. He couldn't guard me on Sunday. It was that bad. And there ain't much to guard with me. I don't got anything. There's no agility, no speed here. So look, the DK Metcalf situation, I asked you who are you more concerned with. I would expect something similar to what you saw against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
But
like Thielen being Lockett.
Let's remember something. Geno Smith last week, 32 of 44, 300-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You're going to have to get a pass rush on him.
Mm-hmm.
Or Tyler Lockett, who will likely see a lot of one-on-one matchups, can beat you, and he'll beat you deep. So there is a positive and a negative to all of this. If you're going to overcommit to DK, you have to ensure Lockett can't beat you over the top. And do you trust Awarie? Or do you put Okudah on him? Or does Okudah focus on DK?
Well, considering what we saw out of Amani Awarie against A.J. Brown, I'd probably put Okudah on DK. Now that this matchup is more of a realistic matchup. I mean, Dan Campbell talked about the confidence Jeff Okudah is playing with right now. Confidence is, majority of everything for a corner. And if he's confident, throw him on DK. Like, Amani right now is coming off a really bad game. I would not put him on DK Metcalf, but again, that's and Dan kind of alluded to this in his press conference, or he talked about this, how the confidence that Jeff's playing with and how well he's playing, he said it alleviates pressure on other points of the defense, because now you don't have to necessarily worry as much about Jeff Okudah. Do I think guys are going to have good games on Jeff Okudah? Yes. Every corner. Ask Jalen Ramsey how he looked game 1 against Stephon Diggs. It's going to happen. But the overall, the point of the whole conversation is, Adam, people think, like DK, for example, this isn't, Revis Island. Like, this is what you do in today's NFL. Most guys get safety help. Like, the offense is so heavily favored nowadays.
There are maybe 4, 5, or 6 corners at most.
Like, maybe you throw Jalen Ramsey one-on-one.
Yeah, no, you have a Jalen Ramsey, you have a
trail him.
Jair Alexander, you have even a Patrick Surtain. Okay,
right.
Yeah, I'm up for it. There are those guys,
but those guys
exist.
aren't coming off an Achilles injury too, so they're not as,
Achilles injury or not, the reality is, I think Seattle's a problem, and I know you're 4.5-point favorites,
right.
But I will continue to say it. If the pass rush that showed up in Minnesota is there on Sunday, which was nothing, you're going to struggle to beat Seattle. You're just going to give Geno all the time in the world to figure out Lockett, Metcalf, Will Dissly, K9, and Rashad Penny. They've got capable weapons.
They do.
So I think the story of the weekend is this defense. And whether or not you want to put Okudah one-on-one, I don't care. I don't. Figure out what the best game plan is. But again, I am worried about Tyler Lockett. That is somebody that can take the top off the defense. We know he's going to be running those vertical routes most of the game. That is one of his specialties. He'll beat you underneath.
Right.
We'll see.
And that's what the pass rush is so important. And Dan also talked about that. Because after the game, when John Comiskey got injured after the game against the Commanders, I said they're going to miss John Comiskey. Dan Campbell said it yesterday. We're going to miss John Comiskey. Like that, and not like John Comiskey is this elite pass rusher, but not only is he just depth for your defensive line, but he helps them set up a lot of those decoys for guys like Aiden and for everybody to help get home. He's not there anymore, and you don't have Romeo Okwara back. I think the pass rush is one of the most important factors or elements of this game, Adam. You got to get to Geno Smith, because that offensive line, decent in the run game, but pass protection, they struggled against the Atlanta Falcons, and I believe our defensive line is a little more talented than the Atlanta Falcons, but we'll see. They got to get home. It's important. You can't play a game like you did last week and barely pressure Kirk Cousins.
Fair enough. I do agree. Look, coming up 8:45, we're going to talk about TJ Hockenson, his struggles, and really, you are going to have to step up. You being TJ Hockenson, you must step up on Sunday, especially if St. Brown is out of the lineup. He's been underwhelming. The drops have been very frustrating to watch. Top of the hour, we'll get to our Lions fans out of touch, or our fans in general. Forget Lions fans. As a fan, are you out of touch in general with your sports team if all you care about is winning? Well, a very interesting conversation. Very interesting thought from Jeff Risden. So I'm very curious to hear what all of you have to say. Top of the hour, I expect all of you to be calling in. I do want to hear what you think and whether or not you believe winning is everything for your sports team that you support. 9:15, Mel Tucker in Michigan State. 9:30, we're joined by Rogelio to go over Aaron Judge last night, making history, tying Roger Maris's home run record in the American League with 61. I have quite the opinion on number 62 when it does happen, and of course number 61 with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, 2 Yankees in that top 10, by the way.
And then Michael Gentry joins us. We got some Red Wings talk at 9:40 coming up later on as well. The Wings look good so far to start the preseason. I believe 1-1. Soderblom looks
the giant
wow.
man.
That is a giant. Like literally, Yzerman's just drafted tall men, physical, foreign men.
They want to get after it,
and I'm all for it. When we get back, TJ Hockenson, his struggles, can he fill the void of St. Brown and Swift missing the field potentially on Sunday? That and more. But before we do, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Planet Fitness, home of the official judgment-free zone. Your fitness is essential. Sign up today for $0 down, $10 a month by visiting planetfitness.com or one of their many Metro Detroit locations. Taking care of your health is vital. Like I said, your fitness is essential. There's no better place to do it than Planet Fitness.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Jeff Iafrate here, and I'm going to tell you about our friends at Alta, because guys, at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. You have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Fish, what the hell was that? Wrong button?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what stuff to go.
Oh, man. We're back.
He's vibing.
Here, it's okay, Fish. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 8:43. Jeff, TJ Hockenson, I have brought him up for months now. I've not been happy. I compare him to Eric Ebron all the time. I know you guys don't like when I say that, but the reality is, Jeff, he has been irrelevant this season. And I keep hearing, it went from he's a transformational tight end, which, again, I agree on the potential there. But he is that to, he's an elite run blocker. And now it's, he can run block. That's it. We don't talk about him catching anything anymore.
Right.
It's just he can run block. And my question is, when the hell is he going to step up for this football team? When is he going to make a play like a DeAndre Swift has? Like a Jamal Williams has stepped up for his team when they needed him? Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, even Reynolds and Chark at times. When is TJ Hockenson going to get his head out of his ass and start playing some good football like we expect him to? Because I'm telling you right now, he sucks. And you can point to, he's a good run blocker. I'd go check his run blocking grades. They're not that impressive.
Yeah, no, they're not. And I think that's the big issue I have with TJ is I know what he can do. He's just not being effective. And maybe that's Ben Johnson, not utilizing him. He had 7 targets the first 2 games. He only caught 3 balls. So he's got to be more efficient. I think before, you saw in the first 2 games especially, that rapport with him and Jared just seems off. Like, it's not completely TJ, but he's got to be more efficient. He caught 3 out of 4 targets last game for, and a touchdown, but it was only for 18 yards. So for me with TJ, the problem I have is he was drafted 8 overall. We understand this. Don't need to remind nobody. But the salary, he's making $6.5 million. That's your cap hit this year. And if you look at other tight ends getting paid similar amounts of money, I mean, you're in the range of Tyler Conklin, LCN product, by the way. He's being productive. You're looking at Tyler Higbee, $7 million. He's productive out in L.A. Like, guys that have been making similar salaries are stepping up. For TJ, there's no excuse. Now with especially Amon-Ra possibly out, DeAndre Swift possibly out, those are 2 guys in the pass game that are utilized. This is going to open up more targets for TJ Hockenson. And this isn't all on TJ. It starts with Jared, too. But TJ's got to be more effective this game. They need him to step up. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, they don't have Bobby Wagner no more. They have Jordan Brooks. He's a pretty good linebacker. He's a tackling machine. But TJ's got to find a way to make plays. And I'm not just talking about 3 catches for 18 yards and a touchdown. I'm talking about 50-plus yards, 60-plus yards. Because we know TJ can do it. Well, he just got to go out and actually do it.
Where do you think he ranks in terms of yards on the year? All tight ends.
That's a tough one. This early on, 20s?
Close. 17.
Okay, 17.
He's ranked 17th. Jawan Johnson, Evan Ingram, Robert Tonyan, Colby Parkinson, Logan Thomas, David Njoku, Dallas Goedert all have fewer targets than TJ Hockenson.
Right.
Yet they all have more yards. Jawan Johnson from New Orleans, Ingram from Jacksonville, Green Bay and Tonyan. Parkinson is a backup tight end, essentially.
Right.
Behind Will Dissly. In Seattle, Logan Thomas, Kyle Pitts, Njoku, Ertz, I can go on the list. Tyler Conklin, we mentioned earlier. That is not a tight end, man. That is not a tight end. That is not somebody that is helping your football team. That is not somebody that is making you better. 82 yards through 3 games.
And the problem I have, too, Adam, if you're not finding success in the pass game, you got to be effective somewhere else. And he's not a very good blocker. So that's the issue I have, too.
Well, I was told he's a very good run blocker, and that's okay. Because, if he sucks as a receiving tight end, at least he can run block, right?
But he's not very good at run blocking, and you're paying him $7 million. So you either be excellent at one or the other. And so far, he has not shown that. And he's questionable, of course, being banged up. But in 12 games last year, he had 600 yards almost. And I know that's not the season we all expected, but even if he played a full 17-game season, that's kind of the numbers I see TJ with. Right now, in 3 games, 82 yards.
This was an individual that was rated as the 5th best tight end in football before the season started last season.
Mm-hmm. We had arguments about, is he a top 5 tight end?
He was rated the 5th best tight end going into last season.
Mm-hmm.
He's 17th in yards through 3 games. And I don't want to hear it's the scheme, the play calling, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff. He has one-on-one favorable matchups all game. The defense worries about St. Brown. They worry about DeAndre Swift. They don't worry about TJ Hockenson, and neither did Minnesota when, right on cue, they're driving the ball down the field. Who scored the touchdown to put them up 14? TJ Hockenson. How? He was able to sneak out. Nobody guarded him. Nobody accounted for him because he isn't a threat. And the Lions took advantage of it. Touchdown Detroit Lions. There you go. Boom. Up 14-0. Hockenson gets favorable matchups all game. He has no excuse not to be performing at a higher level. It's that simple. And I can't tolerate it. I'm sorry. He's Eric Ebron. If anything, he's producing at a worse level than Eric Ebron did year 4.
He just doesn't do all the
extra
what,
stuff.
Though?
What's the extras, right? Because
the personality.
We have this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a better run blocker than Eric Ebron. Okay? He doesn't drop as many balls as Eric Ebron. He has a 40, not even. My God, he has a 55% catch rate this year.
Right.
Lowest since his rookie season, where he was at 54%. He's getting 5 targets a game, and he's averaging about 3. That is tough for me to buy in, man. It just is. I'm not sure what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a tight end whose yards per reception are down, whose receptions are down, whose targets are down, whose yards per game are the lowest they've been since his rookie season. His catch rate the lowest since his rookie season. His yards per target are 3 yards less than his career high. He's at 4.6 yards a target. He's only running 4.5 yards down the field before the ball is thrown to him. On average. Where was the vertical threat? Where were the seam routes? Where was exposing the middle of a defense? He has favorable matchups. And whether it's on Ben Johnson to do more with him, we can have that conversation. But this is a tight end that is not doing enough. Absolutely infuriates me.
And I think that's part of it, too. It's TJ for not making the most of his opportunities. It's Jared Goff. It's Ben Johnson. I think it's a collective. It's a little bit of collectively everybody. But you're right, Adam. He's got to step up. I mean, he's in a territory right now where you're on your last year of your deal. Next year, they picked up that fifth-year option. Time is ticking, and there's a decision that's going to be made with the Detroit Lions whether they want to extend TJ, trade him, or not re-sign him. And that decision's being made easier and easier the more he does not play well, and they're going to need him. So this is a time where you have no choice. He has to step up against a Seattle Seahawks team who doesn't have the linebackers that Minnesota has. Jordan Hicks, Eric Kendricks, like this team. And talk about favorable matchup, no Jamal Adams. There's no excuse. At home, he should go for at least 50, 60 yards this game. I mean, there's no way he does not play well. If he doesn't, we're going to have to hold him accountable.
In the chat, there was a comment. Jared Goff doesn't throw well to tight ends. In Jared Goff's 13-3 season, tight ends, Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee combined, saw 84 targets and over 600 yards receiving that season, along with 5 touchdowns. Boy, you would take 60 receptions for 600-something yards and 5+ touchdowns right now. You're not even on pace to do that with Hockenson. I don't think this is a Jared Goff issue, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and by the way, that Rams team, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp in that order, then Todd Gurley, and then it was Everett, and then it was Higbee. They were the 4th and 5th option on that team.
Mm-hmm. And I think for people saying, well, TJ's open, Goff's not throwing him the ball. I think the problem is, Adam, he had 7 targets, in the first 2 games. I think a part of it's Goff's looking at it like, hey, we're not finding success going to TJ Hockenson. I mean, he caught 3 out of the 7 balls. So that's probably why he shies away from it at the end of the day when you have Amon-Ra catching everything you throw at him. So they have to fix that rapport. They got to fix that chemistry. But it's not all Jared. I mean, it's not. You can't sit here and say it's Jared. It's TJ deserves some of that blame for not stepping up.
He deserves it all, and that's going to lead me to ask you this question, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you confident going into Sunday, no St. Brown, or let's say 80% St. Brown, no DeAndre Swift? Are you confident TJ Hockenson is going to be the one that steps up for this football team?
I'm confident he'll have all the opportunities. To say I'm confident in TJ to be able to step up, right now I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to say I'm confident, but I'm confident he will be in a position to step up. He's going to get open.
He's been there all season.
He's going to get targeted more than, like people talk about the last game getting 4 targets. He's going to have upwards of 7, 8 targets this game.
Did he not get?
He had 7 in the
game
first
1,
2 games.
And 7 in game 2?
But you had Amon-Ra. This game, if you don't have Amon-Ra, there's no, or DeAndre Swift.
He got 7 exactly with a healthy Swift and healthy Amon-Ra, meaning, yeah, he's getting one-on-one matchups. How do you not take advantage of it? How is he not winning those matchups?
No, but they're not connecting, and he's going away from TJ after that. I mean, they have 7 targets, but like you said, after those 7 targets, I'm done with TJ, man. You caught 3 of the balls I'm throwing to you. We'll see against Seattle. He's gonna be open. I'm telling you. I don't see them locking down TJ Hockenson. They just got to get him the football. We'll see. But he's also got to catch the football. I mean, you're going to get 7, 8 targets. You got to be able to come down with it. Right now, he's been struggling to do that, besides last game. So to say I'm confident is probably a stretch. I'm not confident, especially from what I've seen so far from TJ. But I'm hopeful. I know Ben Johnson, they're going to utilize him. It's just about, can he step up?
Seattle, week 1 against Denver, gave up almost 100 yards through the air on 7 receptions to their tight ends. Andrew Beck and Albert, I can't even say his last name. You know who I'm talking about. In the game against San Francisco, it was a blowout. San Francisco ran the ball, so you can't really take anything from that game. You go to the Falcons-Seahawks game, Kyle Pitts led the team with 5 catches and 87 yards. So right now you are seeing on average 6.5 receptions per game and roughly 92 yards a game given up by this defense to tight ends. Can TJ Hockenson get you 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown on Sunday, Jeff? Yes or no?
Yes.
I like to think he can too.
He can do that.
But he hasn't. He's given you zero. But he's zero to work with.
This season, you're right. But he's done that, and he's able to do that. It's just about, is he going to do it this game? And I think so. He's going to have the opportunity at him. And he's shown in the past he can have those games. He's not a Travis Kelce. He's not going to have 150 yards. But I think he can get at least 50, 60 yards and a touchdown. I mean, there's no excuse not for that. You're drafted 8th overall, and you're in an offense where Ben Johnson, former tight ends coach, there's a reason why Brock Wright looked so good last year when Ben Johnson took over. He can utilize his tight ends. He's going to get opportunities. TJ just has to make the most of them, and we'll see if that happens.
It's tough for me to buy into TJ Hockenson when he hasn't consistently delivered. Doug Fungus says, our front 7 outside of Rodrigo is the worst in the NFL. We talk about Hutchinson. It's not that, he's the number 2 overall pick. He's got to be Aaron Donald this year. No, but you need him to play at a certain level given how talentless you are at the line of scrimmage on defense, right? Mm-hmm. That's the reality. So, yes, you are relying on a rookie to generate an immense amount of pressure in his rookie season. Not ideal, but that's the reality your defense faces, let's be honest. It's not the best defense. They're ranked bottom of the league in a majority of categories for a reason. And again, if I told you Swift and St. Brown were injured, Jeff, both, they were out, ruled out for Sunday, where does the offense come from? Not where you'd hope it would come from. Where does it come from?
I think it's got to be TJ. I really do. I love Josh Reynolds. I love DJ Chark. I think they're both solid receivers. But the reality is, TJ is your best weapon available. Like, as much as you want to admit it or not. I know he hasn't shown the results, but it's up to him to step up. And TJ Hockenson and him got to figure it out. Or, Jared Goff and TJ Hockenson got to figure it out. But if I'm being honest, the chemistry, it's all about chemistry with Goff. He goes to guys he has rapport with, he's comfortable with. You saw that with Reynolds last game. Reynolds is a guy he's played with for a long time. So there's the chemistry. Amon-Ra, when he's playing, he's comfortable with Amon-Ra. Amon's getting the targets. This game, if Josh plays, I could see Josh Reynolds playing well. I mean, that's the reality because of the chemistry they have. But it should be TJ Hockenson. Because he's with the receivers that are left, if you don't have Swift, you don't have Amon-Ra, TJ's the most talented weapon you have. But can he make the most out of it? And can he be utilized? I think he will. He's got to step up, though, Adam. That's the guy I'm counting on. Whether I'm wrong or not, that's the reality. He's your best weapon available. And he's got to show it.
I want you to be right, and I want to come in here on Monday and say, Jeff, I need to shut the hell up. Thank you so much. I can't say that right now. And look, if he is opportunistic, but he's not putting up tight end 1 numbers, that's different, right? He's getting all those 7 targets, getting 5-6 catches a game, 50, 60, 70 yards. I'm impressed. I'm all for it. He's not doing that. He's not taking advantage of his matchups.
Right.
I need to see it sooner than later, or the season's just going to get longer and longer for him. When we get back, top of the hour, the phone lines are open. Now's the time to call in. Our Lions fans, and are you at home solely focused on this team must win? With any of your sports teams, doesn't just have to be the Lions. Is winning all that matters to you as a fan? We want to know. So start calling in. We'll take calls top of the hour when we get back. But before we do, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Gypsy Vodka and the official drink of my Thursday nights, Sunday nights, and Monday nights. That's the Mulligan. 8% alcohol, iced tea, lemonade, Gypsy Vodka mixed. Make sure you're always supporting the local, and please drink responsibly.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarthy on our our side.
Lemieux and McCarthy, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Big Frog. Because, guys, go to Big Frog. You can get your free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Just stop in, tell them we sent you, and they will print one out for you on the spot. So go to Big Frog in Novi today. Get your free t-shirt, or you can visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
All right, top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Here on a beautiful Thursday. We got Thursday night football tonight. Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals. Jeff, I've been waiting for this since we started the show. Jeff Risden tweets last night. Really, I don't want to say something controversial because it really wasn't. But the reality is it did upset a lot of people. And from my perspective, I did think, one, it was funny. Two, I do think he makes a point here, which is, and I'll read it verbatim. I don't want to paraphrase him here. So let's get it started. You ready for this one, Jeff?
I'm ready.
Jeff said, I am legit fascinated by, quote, nothing else matters but winning segment of the Detroit Lions fan base. Like, why the bleep are you still a Lions fan? Why would you do that to yourself? If you don't get joy from anything but wins, the Lions are not a healthy choice for you. I meant it when I said on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, find a different team. Go the hell away. You obviously aren't someone who should be emotionally involved with the Lions. Seriously, for everyone's benefit, including your own, leave. Now, I think the second part of that tweet is a bit much, because as a fan, I am limited, because I'll give you my perspective and then we'll get to the people, then I want to hear yours.
Okay, let's do it.
Me as a fan, I cannot enjoy my team if they suck. And I, as a fan, from a fan's perspective, am willing to deal with any and everything to see them win. I would give an arm or a leg as a fan to see them win. That is the fan's mentality, man. That's the reality of what we live in. So, yes, is it not ideal to be a quote, Lions fan and say winning is all that matters for a franchise that's never won in 58 years? Yeah, Jeff absolutely has a point. Mm-hmm. He absolutely has a point. But it doesn't take away from their fandom. It really doesn't. Fish, let's go to Bo from Jackson, Michigan. Bo, what do you got for us this morning? You're on the Morning Woodward Show.
I think the question really depends on whether you're talking about casual fans or people who follow, like, really in-depth. Because I have season tickets to the Lions. Typically, I go to 2-3 home games a year. And then when it's, all is lost for the year, I don't go to the rest of them because it's depressing. But for a casual fan, yeah, they want to win. And the city is tired of just losing constantly. And you're going to start losing the crowd. If it wasn't for Dan Campbell and Hard Knocks this year, the crowd wouldn't have been in it the way they were this year. So for a casual fan, you have to win now. For somebody like us who follows the game and knows the ins and outs of it, yeah, we can wait another year. But that another year is getting pretty fucking old.
Bo, I agree 100%. You made a hell of a point there. Is the reality is we can love the team, we can support them, you can be optimistic about them. But, Bo, like you said, if you're not winning at the end of the day, how fun is it to watch your team lose on Sundays? It's not fun. Mondays are so much better. I don't get to smoke on Mondays when this football team loses.
Absolutely, and I see it every game I go to. The first game I went to this year, the Philadelphia game, the crowd was in it the whole time. It's because we kept it close. But there's so many times that I see it where halfway through the third quarter, there's no crowd noise when we're on defense. And I've watched the Ford Field turn into an away game for the Lions. The only reason I know Jets, Jets is because they all congregated behind the Jets bench a couple years ago at a Jets away game. But it turned into a Lions away game for the Lions, and it's terrible. And I understand the frustration from this city and the Detroit fans. It's just, at some point, I don't think Dan Campbell has as long of a chance as everybody thinks he does. I mean, he's a great charismatic dude, but if he keeps making stupid decisions, he's going to be gone next year.
Bo, I wish I could sit up here and disagree with a single thing you said. I really can't. You're absolutely spot on. One of the best calls we've had in a long time. Thank you so much, Bo. That very well said. That's a season ticket holder, Jeff.
Yep.
That is somebody who invests his hard-earned money into watching this football product. Again, as a football fan, we're all football fans, right? We all agree, outside of Fish maybe in the room. We're all football fans. You love to watch the sport on Sunday. But boy, is it not better to watch your football team when they're winning? Which it is. So yes, the winning is all that matters. At the end of the day is the reality, because you don't keep coaches if they're losing. You don't keep front offices if they're putting out a losing product. You don't buy season tickets for a losing product. Now, it's a little different in today's world, fans. Like, I get it, the loyalty aspect, but still, that's tough. Let's go to James. James, your thoughts on not only the comments, but just in general. Is winning all that matters for you as a Detroit Lions fan?
I'm going to say yes, and the reason why is because, to give a backstory, I was a U of M fan for football for the longest time. And once the COVID season happened, saw Harbaugh go 2-4, they lost me. They completely lost me. And it took them a while to actually get me back, even though they were doing so well last year, because it almost seemed like a mirage. And Dan Campbell, the person that he is, he's got all of us hyped. This is the year that, you know what, maybe we won't make the playoffs. 7, 8, maybe 9 wins is what we're expecting. And now after seeing the first 3 games of the season, I'm not looking for development of the players, because I don't doubt Brad Holmes, but I'm beginning to doubt Dan Campbell. I need to see him develop now instead of the players. Players are doing amazing. The coaches, on the other hand, that's what now I need to see develop.
You know what, James? You're absolutely right. I love the point you brought up at the end, development. You know, last year, a big conversation we were having is, hey, you know what? It's year 1. You want to see player development. You want to see coaches get better as the season goes on.
Right.
We're now in year 2. I don't need to be seeing the same mistakes. We've seen it already twice this year, once against Philly, and then, of course, this weekend against Minnesota. But I think you're spot on. Even as a Michigan fan, like, how long do I have to wait? A&M's gone 40 years without a SEC championship. Michigan State, how long has it been? Before they won previously, it was like 20-something years. Michigan, it was 17 years, I believe, or 18 years leading up to last season. So how long do you wait before you just get frustrated? So, you know, when James calls and says, you know, as a Michigan fan, they lost me in the COVID year, I don't blame him. Why would you want to, again, you can support your team. But at the end of the day, Jeff, winning is all that matters.
Yeah.
Because if you aren't winning, what are we doing here?
I think there'd be more fans if the Lions are winning? No doubt.
Of course, there'd be more fans in every scenario.
Absolutely. And that's all that fans want. That's why I think the point that Jeff made overall, I get where he's coming from, but overall, I don't fault anybody for cheering on a franchise that has continuously failed you. And having expectations is the reality of being a fan. I have expectations for this franchise every single year, whether I'm right or wrong. And that's what you have to do. You have to expect something. You can't sit here and accept mediocrity. You have to have at least expectations, even if they don't accomplish those expectations.
And James said it perfectly. And James, you were absolutely spot on with this one. 7, 8, or 9 wins. A team that's at least in December, late December, you're seeing them in the playoff hunt. James, appreciate the call.
Appreciate you, James.
Thank you so much. Make sure you call in again. Well done. Well done. All right, Jeff, again, winning, context. Do you want to see development? If they win 6, 7, let's say 8 games this year, I think you're looking at this team saying, all right, I'm confident in the direction it's going. But like James said, you can't go 6-11, 7-10, and 5 of your losses are because of coaching decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're doubting. You begin to doubt.
Because we have this conversation all the time. Most games in the NFL are decided at the end of the game. I mean, most games are close. That's just how the NFL is. Every team is a tough team. Coaches will tell you that as well as anybody. But the reality is you got to be better in execution. I mean, that goes with the players as well. But putting your players in the right position is also important. And making the right decisions for your players. And again, Dan, he showed us there's times where he makes those mistakes and he has to learn from them. But the key word is learn from them, not repeat those same mistakes. And he's got a lot of season left, so a lot of time for us to evaluate him. Think he could bounce back from it, but you can't keep doing things like this where you have to apologize at the podium. Fans are just getting sick of it.
All right, let's go to Christian out in New Jersey. Kristen, you are on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got for us, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? I'm a big fan.
Appreciate it.
My juices flowing.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
No, I just wanted to, I was just having this conversation with some family members the other day, that Detroit Lions have had a lot of players that has left and has won championships. And it shows that it's not the players, it's just the organization and the coaching. And you guys talk about it all the time. It's coaching freaking matters. And there's no reason why Stafford can leave and win immediately. Cliff Averill, you got Dominican Sue, you got Kyle Van Noy that won, 2 championships? And he was a bum on the Lions. Well, so we thought. And he goes to the Patriots and becomes an all-pro multiple times. It's the coaching and the culture of the coaching. And Dan Campbell has to fix that. Because if he doesn't, then we're just in that same group with talented players and nothing to show for it.
Let me ask you this, Christian. Your thoughts on Dan Campbell so far? Look, last year I think we all agree it was kind of a pass year. You weren't trying to kill him too much. I think what they did down the stretch, 3-3, showed some good signs. Jared Goff playing a lot better. I like the Ben Johnson move. They go into this season 3 games in now. You've seen him really botch 2 games with suspect and questionable play calling. Are you still on the Dan Campbell board? Do you still believe he can turn it around, or are you starting to become concerned?
I believe Dan Campbell's mistakes are too much too often, but those are learnable mistakes. If he can't learn from those mistakes, then dude, you shouldn't be here at this point in time. I'd rather have Deuce Staley being our coach, head coach at that point, because there's no reason why you make the same mistake over and over. And it's really timeouts. You're calling timeouts at the wrong time. Timeouts cost you the Baltimore game. Timeouts cost you pretty much your last 2 wins. You 2 should have against the Eagles and the Vikings. I don't know why he has an issue calling timeouts, but I mean, even the Broncos coach got somebody to do in-game, clock management. So, dude, if you need to do that, just hire someone to help you out with that, because obviously you're not doing a good job at that.
Fair enough. Well, look, we appreciate you supporting us all the way out in New Jersey. Call back anytime. You're more than welcome, Christian. Big fan. Thank you so much for calling in today.
Christian dropping facts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
Now, I love what he said, by the way, because he made a great point, because we talk about this all the time. For Dan Campbell, you have Ben Johnson, you have Aaron Glenn, you have 2 really good play callers. Dan Campbell's job as a head coach in the position he's in, because you look at guys, and I see it brought up in the chat on WoodwardSports.com, like Andy Reid, guys that struggle with clock management. At least Andy Reid was entirely in charge of that offense. Dan Campbell isn't entirely in charge of that offense right now.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused.
What's up?
Andy Reid. Why are we bringing up Andy Reid?
Because he had
Which
problems
version?
The pre-Super Bowl clock management issues. That was a knock on Andy Reid.
Okay, but he was in multiple NFC Championship games, multiple divisions.
That's where I was getting to.
Yeah,
because
please.
A lot of it is, for Dan Campbell, his job is to make those decisions. You got to win. Talk about building culture. I love what Christian said. You want to build a culture like other coaches have done. It starts with winning. And Dan Campbell can change this culture, change the mentality, which I love what he's been doing. But the results are ultimately the biggest determining factor on making and creating a culture. And Dan's got to show that, Adam. A lot of these games have been close, and you can look at it from 2 ways. Positive, the Lions are playing tough. They're playing close games. Or you can look at it in a negative.
Heard that for how long?
But you can look at it the opposite way, which is, I believe, the right way, and they can't finish these games.
You have to find a way to win games. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. That's the reality of the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't care if you came in with the expectation that this was a 4-13 football team. You should be fed up with the first 3 games of the year. I don't care about your expectations. I don't care that you expected to lose against Philly and Minnesota, and the fact that you blew them basically. Oh, well, we thought we were supposed to lose anyways. I hate that. No. Go out and win a game you're not supposed to win. Jacksonville isn't supposed to beat the Chargers. The Bears aren't supposed to beat the Niners. The Steelers aren't supposed to beat whoever the hell they played week 1. I forget what the matchup was. It was an upset. On the road, I believe. They played somebody, whatever. Home to Cincinnati. They have no business beating the defending AFC champions.
Right.
Neither does Dallas with Cooper Rush. Welcome to the NFL. The Bears are 2-1 right now. How? I swear to you, I don't know. I may have reverse jinxed them. Maybe it's my fault. God's punishing me.
Bears.
God's punishing me for this one. I'll take it on the chin. That's fine. When we get back, you know what? We have more people on the lines. I do want to get to them, so we'll get to them right after the break. Then we'll get into Mel Tucker at Michigan State. We'll have Raj on at 9:29 and Michael at 9:40 for Tigers and Wings talk. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. They let people know it's okay to not be okay. And if you or know someone who is struggling, head please to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Jeff Iafrate here. I'm with the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck because, guys, they're the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, or they have the unlimited open play, which is $12, or they have the $120 lane reservation where you and 9 other people can play. $2 Mr. Beer machine and a full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we're back. 9:16. Before we get to Mel Tucker and Michigan State, I want to take 2 more calls. We'll go to Nico out in Port Huron. Nico, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. Your thoughts on the Lions having to win, that winning mentality. Is winning everything for you as a fan?
I mean, it's definitely a lot of it. My thought with Dan Campbell, somebody earlier was saying that he's not going to get a 3rd season. And I'm going to disagree with that. If he makes the change that he needs to make this year. We saw last year that he made the change with Anthony Lynn when it, mid-season when it came down to it and he needed to do it. So at some point, he's got to make the change of, okay, I'm having these issues this season. Does he go to Ben Johnson and the OC to help correct those issues? Or like somebody else said, does he bring somebody in so that he gets lessons, if that's what it is, on how to do the clock management? Mm-hmm. A lot like early last season, he was taking all those trick play calls, and then he made that change as well. If he makes that change this season, he's going to get his 3rd season, and I think we'll see those wins.
For me, and I want to bring this up, Nico, for Dan Campbell, for somebody who has Ben Johnson calling plays, Aaron Glenn, 2 really good coordinators in general, what is Dan's job? If you need someone to advise him and with clock management, ultimately that would mean, what is Dan? Like, what is his role? Because that should be his role rather than just being the motivator. Like, what would have to happen for you to say Dan Campbell must be fired? Because I'm with you. I don't think he should be fired this season at all. But what would push you to that point?
I think it's not making those changes. And, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from when you're talking about he's just a motivator. But at the same time, I think the motivator is what this Lions team needed.
Right.
When you compare where we were with Fatty Pat at the end of his tenure. We needed a cultural change, and Dan Campbell is what brought that in.
Can I ask you something then? Because I think you're right in a sense about the culture shift. And I don't think it was just coaching that needed to be changed. I think the front office overall has helped a ton. But
absolutely.
Urban Meyer, could we agree Urban Meyer was a complete scumbag? Just like Matt Patricia?
Absolutely.
And Doug Peterson, in my opinion, isn't a hire that is, again, I will have to deviate. The situations are different, but he's not some culture shifter. All he is really an offensive-minded, proven winner who comes in and takes Trevor Lawrence now to this next level. The offense is playing better. The team is obviously happier. They would be happier either way. But I think, Nico, the question I have for you is these mistakes, these late-game decisions, they are going to have to stop sooner than later.
Oh, no, and I completely agree. I mean, they add up. I mean, we have the 2nd highest scoring offense in the league right now behind Lamar Jackson, who's having an unreal career. At what point, I will agree, it has to translate to wins. It can't be these last-minute mistakes. And like I said, if it's just lessons that he needs to help get that, then, God, somebody get him for it. But for right now, he's done, I think, most of what he was hired to, and that's to change the mentality of the team.
All right, well, Nico, can't thank you enough for calling in. Make sure you call again. Well done. We appreciate the call
all
this
the
morning.
today.
So far, so very good.
Preaching facts.
Very good. We'll go to our last one.
Facts.
We'll go to our last one, then we'll get to Mel Tucker and Michigan State. Fish, I love the dancing right now. Well done. Quinn, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. Where are you from, man?
What up, fellas? I'm from Grand Rapids. This is your boy Piston Fan 11 from the chat.
Hey.
Shout out to the chat, boys.
Let's go.
Hey, you have a lot of enemies.
Yeah, no, bro. Trust me. I took a few days off because I wasn't feeling great after the loss, and I came in this morning and heard people chirping about me, but it's all good. Just a few things. I think, obviously, winning is the most important thing for every franchise and every sport, and it's the obvious goal of every single fan of every team. But I don't think that it can be the day-to-day end-all, be-all. For example, a week ago, we were all in a much more positive place after the Vikings win, and now we're in a place where same old Lions, this team sucks, throw the franchise in the trash, and all that stuff. And I just think part of being a fan is the journey, and we take this journey with our teams together. And that's why when the Lions win, it's going to be that much more rewarding. And I think one more kind of non-Lions point that I would make to kind of, well, they have to win and they only have to win and that's all that matters. If that was the case, then why did I watch the Pistons last year? I watched the Pistons last year because I believe in this regime. I wanted to see Cade Cunningham. I wanted to see the young players grow. And I'm kind of the same way with Brad Holmes. This is year 2 of a tear-down rebuild. I feel like we have a GM that is heading in the right direction. We have young players heading in the right direction. And so I'm going to enjoy the ride. It's fine to critique the team when they lose. It's definitely fine to question Dan Campbell. I think Dan is a big-time vibes guy, and I kind of respect that. I love that. Like, I'm cool with him kind of being a little off the cuff and going for it and stuff like that, and vibes are cool. But clock management is not a vibes thing. Clock management is a very finite, in this situation, you do this. In this situation, you do not do this. So he needs to get that act together real quick. But ultimately, yes, we all want to win. But if the only thing that matters to you is winning, and winning now, go change your Twitter bio to fan of Warriors, Yankees, and Alabama, and bandwagon whoever you want. And I'm going to sit here and watch the team grow. I'm not going to evaluate the Lions as a whole because of their 70-year organizational failures. I'm going to evaluate this specific regime on their merits and what they have done. And if this head coach doesn't work out, we move on. If this regime doesn't work out, I'll judge the next regime. The guy that called about Michigan before talking about, I left during the COVID season. Fine. That's completely up to you. But if Michigan comes back and hires a young stud head coach in the next couple of years, I'm pretty sure he's going to come back and see what that coach is all about. So ride with each regime, judge each regime on their merits, and hope for the best, and go Lions.
I actually do appreciate that standpoint from a fan, where it's I want to pay off, or I'm investing my time into Cade Cunningham now over the next few years.
Right.
I want to see it pay off. You go back to the Tigers, their glory days, where let's just be honest, we came up short twice in a World Series. Right? 2 World Series, you didn't finish the deal. But how many ALCS games did you get to watch? How many ALDS games did you get to watch? How many pennants? Those are what you live for. Am I saying Super Bowl or bust? Right? Absolutely not. But the idea of winning is everything, especially in the NFL. Because in the NFL, it is, in my opinion, the easiest to turn around. In Detroit, specifically because you're not a market like LA, right? In LA, I can go get 2 free agents in the NBA and I can be in the playoffs the next year.
Right.
It's a little different in basketball. Hockey, again, this is hockey town. You've seen true champions be built, dynasties be built here in Detroit with the hockey team. You've seen the baseball team compete. You've seen a championship back in 2004 for the Pistons, 2008 for the Red Wings. Really, I think it just boils down to the Lions specifically, because it's been so long. There is no history. But Quinn, appreciate the call. Hell of a call. Thank you so much for always being involved in the chat on Woodward Sports. We appreciate it as always.
Preaching facts.
Michigan State and Mel Tucker. Jeff, how do I say this?
What's your concern level? 1 through 10.
Jeff, they suck.
So I'm going with 11.
They suck. And I would equate it to...
Yeah.
I don't think I'm questioning Mel Tucker at all. I'm really not.
I don't think it's fair
It
to
took
question
Harbaugh
him.
7 years to win the Big Ten.
Right.
I'm not bailing on a guy that just had an 11-win season and his first full season as the Michigan State.
With a pretty similar secondary, by the way. They still
as the
found a way
Michigan
to...
State head coach. 11 wins. I think an NIL program that will get better.
Mm-hmm.
There is something there. So I'm not going to sit here and just bash Mel Tucker. Absolutely not. But you know what's one thing I never have to question about a Michigan football team since Harbaugh took over? Whether or not he's a legitimate head coach. Never had to question myself, ever. I know what I'm getting from Harbaugh. He's more experienced. Mel Tucker is new, right? This is a new Mel Tucker. 11 wins last season. I was expecting 8 or 9 at best this season. You already have 2 losses on the books. And we have to sit here and have a conversation about going to Michigan, going to Penn State, hosting Ohio State at Spartan Stadium. There's way too much going on. There's way too much going on, man. It is, I would say, a very difficult period for Michigan State. Again, I'm not throwing any flags yet at Mel Tucker or, oh, they committed too much money.
Yeah.
No, I think he's doing a good job. But on the field...
Well, Adam, we got to be fair to Mel Tucker a little bit. Like, you need to give him time. You think he loves going to the transfer portal the last 2 seasons? I don't think he has an option. You see the recruiting classes that are coming in. You got to give him more time to get his guys in there.
That's
and then
fine.
we can make that assessment. Right now, it's a dumpster fire. Like, it really is.
It's a dumpster fire now. 6 weeks from now, they could be, I don't know, let's say 6-4 with a chance to go 7-5. Who knows? Regardless of the point, this is a team that you like some pieces, but I'm not really impressed with what Michigan State are offering
they need
in anything right now.
They need a lot of work.
And to be honest with you, what's to stop them from losing to Maryland this week?
That's my point.
How are they going to stop that pass game? Good luck. The pass rush, Jacoby Windman, breakout game week 1, and then it's been a little inconsistent. A few moments here and there. I mentioned Scott Hazelton. You guys remember the Gladiators, right? Used to sit in those huge coliseums in Rome, and the Gladiators would go out and fight for their lives. Scott Hazelton right now to me is fighting for his life. And if I was the prince, emperor, king, whatever the hell you want to call him, you know, they give you the decision, thumbs up, thumbs down, he'd be dead. Oh my God. He'd be dead. He's dead to me right now.
Hey,
pathetic.
You win games with good players, great players.
I understand.
And they had Kenneth Walker last year. I mean,
who, by the way, is obviously clearly should have been in New York. By the way, considering the drop off.
Yeah, the importance he had.
But regardless, when we get back, we got Rogelio joining us for Detroit Tigers talk, and then of course Aaron Judge tying Roger Maris's home run record. I have something really interesting I want to bring up to you and Raj. I want your guys' thoughts on it. I think this should be fact and reality, but you know what? We live in a different world now. We'll get to Raj in just a bit, and then we'll get to Michael and the Detroit Red Wings at 9:40. But before we do, I got to tell you about where I need to get a haircut later on this week, and that'll be at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. My beard, my hair, Jesus, it is extremely long. I need to go get myself taken care of. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. Their phenomenal stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Mike Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Mike the number one option for anybody. He's a seasoned vet. He's one of the best in the game, if not the best, in my opinion. I've personally dealt with him. 313 is the phone number, 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. Call Michael Phillips today and get your game on. All right. Hottest team in baseball, 7-1. Under
The Scott Harris era.
Joined by Rogelio Castillo from Woodward Tigers. Raj, good morning. How are you?
Man, the myth,
I'm
legend.
doing well. Apparently, I need to get my butt crack full of sand rather than here talk about baseball talk.
Yeah, you're. You know what? Yeah, you're 10. You need to work on your skin color. It's not good enough. But having said that, Raj, last night, Aaron Judge, number 61. And I have an opinion that I'm not sure many will agree with, although I still think Barry Bonds is one of the greatest, if not the greatest hitter I've ever seen in my life, regardless of the PEDs. If he breaks the record, which he'll likely do it, he should be the all-time home run, or the single-season home run king, in my opinion. All those associated with the PEDs, and I'm not a fan of it. And I think those players, some should be able to get in. I think they were good enough before, but regardless how I feel about that, baseball needs to make a decision. I think you have an opportunity right now to showcase that decision with really one of the faces of baseball in Aaron Judge in a Yankee uniform. If there was ever a time to scratch the books and say, this is our home run king, Aaron Judge is the guy to do it. Your thoughts?
I think it's the right time to dissolve the taste of the 90s, if you will, because that's when a lot of that happened. And it's the perfect character to do it. You have him in a Yankees uniform. Anybody... I went to Erie on Saturday night. Erie was playing a Yankees affiliate. Half of the crowd on the first base side came down from Somerset to see their AA team. You say Yankees... people, it just makes perfect sense. I think Barry Bonds, unfortunately with Barry Bonds, he was kind of a villain. If it was a nicer guy to the media, I think it would be a different narrative. But Judge says the right things. He sticks to it. And not to mention, his numbers this year, just hitting-wise, are phenomenal. So that is a good opportunity for baseball to do it because this is the exact situation they want. I mean, Rob Manfred is just drooling right now at the possibility with this.
I think they should do it. Sorry, Sammy Sosa, McGuire, Bonds, everybody that's ahead of him. Let's all be real. You go back to the 98 years, Sammy Sosa, when he hit 66, right? He was 29 years old. He's the only person on that list at the time that was younger than Aaron Judge is right now in this moment where he's about to hit 62. And my honest opinion here is I think baseball needs to, if they want to help their game, you want to sponge, move on, fine. Now's the time to do it. You have a guy wearing a Yankee uniform about to set the AL mark in a Yankee uniform, passing Roger Maris. It is perfect, in my opinion. And you look at Sosa, when he broke it, back when he was 29 years old, his career high was 40 home runs. Suddenly 26 better. And over the next 5 years, he was 50-plus on average. It was obvious. We don't need to sit here and debate this anymore.
There's a great
he's clean.
I'm sorry.
He's clean. He's a clean hitter. He's batting for average. He's going to win the Triple Crown likely. This is the guy, and this is the year to do it.
there was a great article that came out in The Athletic this morning that talked about the change in mechanics. He has quieted his hands. And so when he's, in terms of evidence, there's more. What I like about the stats, and I know there's some people out there that hate stats, think it's too nerdy, yada, yada, yada. There's the adjustment to his hands talks about where he's a little more square to the plate when he goes to loaded swing, and he's rotating less, which is allowing the barrel to go faster. So there's not only addition to the stats, but there's video evidence of the changes in his swing. So with Sammy Sosa, all you had was, oh, it looks a little bigger. That's crazy. There's numbers to back this up, and I thought the Athletic did a really good job explaining it this morning, how good Aaron Judge has been.
I mean, you want me to be honest here? This is going to hurt me a little bit. It's facts, but
yeah,
his season right now is better than Miggy's Triple Crown season. It's more impressive. And this season, he has and will be known as a better hitter than Miguel Cabrera ever was in a single season. Sorry. I know the batting average is still 10 points lower than Miggy's, or 20 points if you want to go to the 330-plus year he was batting. I know the RBIs aren't that high, but the fact that you have an additional 17, 18 home runs on Miguel Cabrera is impressive. I know different stadium. You look at Comerica Park, the fact that he did it, you can argue is more impressive. But you put up the two stat lines. You might have to give the nod to Aaron Judge, and whose Triple Crown is more impressive.
Now, are you basing that based off the fact that pitchers are pitching better now?
No, I'm basing it on history.
Okay.
Although Miggy, again, 44 years when there was a 44-year break before he did it. But with Judge, he is setting the single-season home run record. Miggy wasn't setting a single-season record for hits, batting average, RBIs, or anything. He was just phenomenal. And rightly so was the Triple Crown and MVP winner. Aaron Judge is about to set history and win the Triple Crown. That has never happened before. That is historic, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Look, I think that having the right field porch at Yankee Stadium has been a big benefit. I don't have the numbers in front of me how many he's hit out the right field. I know he's hit a lot pull side. But honestly, if you had to play, I wish there was a way to put him in neutral in the same ballpark, but unfortunately you can't. So to me, I still think what Miguel did is incredible, considering that Yastrzemski was the last person to do it. You think about Frank Thomas, you think about George Brett, all these great hitters that were growing up throughout the time that we were growing up in the era that we were in, and none of them could get except for Miguel Cabrera. Now, Judge is special, you're right, because he's about to break the home runs. He's going to do this, but I don't know, man. I don't want to dismiss Miguel's numbers because I
don't either, but the reality is to set the single-season home run record in the AL and win the Triple Crown, I do think is more impressive. And it's just by that difference alone.
All right.
It's not much of a difference. And I could argue Miguel is a more well-rounded batter and hitter, easily. I think he's a top 3 hitter in my lifetime.
Right.
I've only seen Albert Pujols really look like Miguel Cabrera. And then Barry Bonds, who, let's all be real, was a cheat. Alex Rodriguez was a cheat. But those were the hitters that you affiliated and associated yourself with. Miggy was so special, especially here in Detroit. Now, Aaron Judge needs 4 or 5 more years of this, not at 60, but, that range of 320, 40, and 120. And then we can talk about him being Miguel Cabrera. But for the single season alone, man, it's up there with Miggy, and I don't blame people for arguing that it should be better than his single season.
No, and again, it's almost like splitting hairs to me, at least, because
I agree.
I look at it this way. I look at, for example, Barry Bonds' numbers before he went to San Francisco put him in the Hall of Fame alone. And I think with Miguel's track record, Aaron Judge's track record now, you definitely should be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame if he continues at this pace, because I think he can. The fact that he's that aware to make those changes to his swing, the quietest swing in his load, is impressive enough, and I think he's going to even get better.
Well, he's 30 years old right now.
Yeah.
And he only has 219 career home runs. I mean, this is a guy who, if he gives you 5 years of 40 home runs, you're looking at 450 home runs by the time it's all said and done, and he's 36, 37 years old. he can get into the Hall of Fame, yes, by another 5, 6, 7. I mean, baseball, you can play so long in baseball, really, but at that pace, that's going to be difficult. He's already has a career of struggling with injuries, but regardless, does he have the career of Miguel Cabrera? Absolutely not. Miggy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the single season, right? Take Miggy's best season. Hell, take the Triple Crown season. Compared to Aaron Judge's, we're having a really hard conversation here.
Yeah.
Fair?
No,
I don't want to do it either. I'm biased.
Yeah.
I love Miggy. But I can't not ignore what he's doing right now.
No, and I can't ignore it either. And I'm not going to also use the built-in excuse about right field. To a certain extent I can. But I just look at the game now. It was different. Even lineups. You have to consider lineup construction. Is the Yankees lineup better than that Miguel Cabrera lineup that he was surrounded with?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't. I think Mickey's that Tigers team was loaded.
Yeah.
You had Prince Fielder. You had Victor Martinez. You always had somebody behind him. Aaron Judge. I mean, they've batted him They've batted him to start.
I mean,
he's let off.
Andrew makes a good point, man. 348 can't really.
Again, he's a much more rounded hitter. But you'd say 348. How many home runs was it? 44 or 47? I forget the number. His Triple Crown season, find out for me. It was either 44 or 47. I could be wrong. 61 home runs. Likely will finish with 63, 64, 65. Think about that. 44, thank you.
Yeah.
61. He already has 17 more than Mickey. And he's batting 314, leading the AL. And he has as much, if not, will finish the season with more RBIs. And if he goes on a 4 or 5 game tear here, where he hits a home run or two, he might push 70.
You know what?
Season's not over yet for the Yankees, man.
I mean, if you want to get more granular with this, because I know you like stats just as much as I do. I mean, look at Aaron Judge's WAR this season. I mean, he's got a 10.4 WAR. 10.4 WAR. And Miguel season, I believe it was around 6 or I think 7.
It was 7.3, something along those lines. Mike Trout hasn't even touched that goddamn number.
You know what the OPS plus is, by the way? 213.
213.
213.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It really isn't close. I'm
See,
sorry,
now
guys.
it's like, now you're like,
Now you're hurting. You're pulling on my heartstrings with Miggy. But we got to take a break. When we get back, we'll go to Michael Gentry and the Detroit Lions. God, Adam, what are you doing right now? We'll go to the Detroit Red Wings. Another preseason game last night. Michael was at the game. Can't wait to talk to him about Soderblom, that and much more. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited 6-pack sampler box, which you can see if you're watching on WoodwardSports.com. They have cranberry, the original, the sugar-free. You could try all these flavors if you pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box at CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Time to talk about Swiss, and I'm not talking about Turkey and Swiss. Swiss Insurance Group. Mark and his awesome team at Swiss Insurance want to remind you that September is National Life Insurance Awareness Month. Swiss can help you save money on home and auto insurance, resulting in no additional out-of-your-pocket for your life insurance needs. Reach out to the team at Swiss Insurance Group. Their experts will provide you with financial peace of mind if the unexpected happens. Mark Swiss.
I love it. I love it. We are back, joined by Michael Gentry, our Detroit Red Wings beat reporter. Hey, Michael.
Jeff and Gentry alum.
How's it
What
going,
up, man?
boys?
How are you? How's everything?
I'm great.
How was the game last night?
It was good. It was good.
All right, walk me through it. Who impressed? Who didn't?
Soderblom would be my big one that stood out for me. He looks like he's
Literally stood out.
Yeah,
Guy's
literally.
a giant.
But no, he looks like he's almost NHL ready. You might see him opening lineup. We don't know yet, but he was using his body, that physicality, and you couldn't really tell that this was his first time on an NHL ice. So.
One thing I noticed too is, and Derek Lalonde kind of talked about this, the importance of Ben Sherratt for Mo Seider and getting those guys playing early on. He wants them to develop chemistry. What does Ben Sherratt do for someone like Mo Seider, Calder Trophy winner? Because we've talked about this on the podcast as well. Like, what is the impact of having Ben Sherratt, a lefty with a righty like Mo Seider? What impact does that have on him?
Well, Ben also brings this enforcer presence that the Red Wings have been missing. But Lalonde spoke in the press conference last night that he loves the pairing between them two, and that he is going to keep them together for the near future. So the matureness that Mo Seider will gain for playing with a veteran like Sherratt is just going to be great for the Wings' future. The Wings never really have had a guy like Sherratt, well, even in the past couple of years, rather. The guy that's really going to go out and enforce on the ice. The Wings have been getting bullied. They really needed a guy with the personality like Sherratt in the locker room to kind of just set the tone. So he's going to be big for this Wings team and Mo Seider.
It's funny, too, watching the game yesterday. It just gets you, what are your expectations? Because we haven't got a chance to talk to you, by the way. But getting the chance to see the preseason, you were down there, you got to see everything. What's your expectations this season for the Red Wings? Where do they stand in a pretty tough conference overall? Because I know people, I've said before, I feel like the Red Wings, out of all teams, if you had to bank on a team making the playoff, winning a championship, not this year, but in the future, I'd go with the Red Wings because of my confidence level with Steve Yzerman. But seeing the roster they have out there, I know it's preseason, but what are your expectations this season for the Red Wings?
I don't think they will make the playoffs this year, but I think they'll be pretty damn close. The pieces that they're putting together are more depth pieces, and then you add a guy like David Perron, who's going to be such a huge impact on the power play and just offensively for this team, and that's just a big piece that we've been missing. And then we have a lot of depth throughout our lineup. When you move guys like Kubalik and Zadina down to the third or fourth line, that brings a lot of offensive ability that you didn't have last year. So I look for this team to just make steady improvements throughout the year. I wouldn't say playoffs just yet, but they are definitely making the move towards that.
Is this a team we're going to see get 90, 94 points potentially this season? Because I am bought the hell in to what Steve Yzerman has going on there. Derek Lalonde, it was only time until Steve made his decision. He did. I think the way they're going to play is going to be much different. You saw some of the lineups. You saw some of it. And what I'm looking for is Verana will probably be more on a veteran line, and you're going to see Raymond and Larkin together most of the season.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I hope the Raymond, Larkin, Bertuzzi line sticks together, and then I hope we do see a Kopp, Verana, Perron second line, even though that's basically a first line. But I do hope we see that pairing. I do want to see Raymond, Larkin, Bertuzzi together. The chemistry that they had last year and they built was unmatched. They were playing first line hockey all year. So I do want to see those guys together. And when you add a top D pair like Ben Sherratt and Mo Seider, if they're playing with whatever those first two lines, that's just going to make them that much better. So I can't wait to see the improvement for these first two lines moving forward.
And I want to ask you too, and forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so you're going to have to help me out. Juho Oklanora?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
He's He's Finnish, but what was your thoughts on Ned last night and overall just the goaltending situation moving into the season? They have Ville Husso now, but overall, what's your evaluation of that part of the team so far?
The goaltending position definitely got better in the offseason when you add a guy like Husso, but as far as Ned goes, he did let in a couple ones yesterday that weren't really his fault, you could say. Gave up a couple 2-on-0s, 2-on-1s and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you have guys like Huso and Ned, that's like such a good 1-2 punch that you can switch them out every game, obviously, and you're still going to get that goaltender number one mentality. Both of these guys can come out and win you a game. So that's what the Red Wings really needed last year. Goaltending was a struggle when you didn't see Ned in the net, and you even seen Ned struggle. So to have a good 1-2 punch is going to be crucial.
Absolutely.
My last question I have for you is we talk about goal scoring. Jakub Vrana, only Austin Matthews scores at a higher goals per game than he does when he's healthy. It's ridiculous, actually. Yes. It's like 1.38. My question to you is, outside of Vrana, because I think we all know he's a 35-plus goal scorer in a full season. Probably more. Maybe a 40-goal getter. Is Raymond a 30-plus goal guy this year? And do you expect him to be?
If not, he'll be right around there. With the production that this first line gives, it would be wrong to say that Raymond wouldn't put up those type of numbers.
Would we say at least 25 minimum is the expectation this year?
110%.
Fair enough.
Yes.
All right. We talked about goaltending. Sebastian Kosa, you have Alex Nedeljkovic. I don't think we're going to see much of Kosa this year, maybe towards the end of the year when you just want to bring guys up and give them some ice time, unless this team is legitimately a contender. But we talked about the points. We talked about everything. Goaltending this year. What does it look like? They went and got a veteran goalie. Are we looking at a 41-41 split? Are we looking at 50-32?
It's really tough to tell. Like I said, these guys are a big 1-2 punch, so like you really can't go wrong with either of them. I think it's more of you kind of just like go to the hot hand and then play them steadily. You don't want to like obviously play one more than the other and then one guy's getting killed and one guy's doing great. You kind of just want to work them in steadily. They're both very good goaltenders, so you can't really go wrong with putting one in or the other.
Who are you going with?
To start the season, obviously, I would go Ned. But just slowly work Huso in there. But, yeah, Ned's my starter.
Be solid. Last year, we talked a lot about the goaltending. I mean, there was games where, especially the opening night,
the goaltenders were scoring on themselves last year. Yeah. How about we just forget about last year?
It's funny, man. That was the first game of the season last year for the Red Wings. I went in person, watched. I'm like, yep. I think they lost like 7-6. Like, they could score, but they can't keep the...
This may be super generic. This may be super generic on my part, Mikey, but I'm sorry. This is just what I saw. Glance last night, just watching for 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Speed and size. Those were my takeaways.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to say that?
No, not at all. We got young guys that can move, and that's definitely going to be an advantage for this team. We got young guys that are hungry, too.
All right, I love it. Well, Mike, we're going to have you on much, much more moving forward. Excited to talk Wings with you every week moving forward.
If you like Mike, Jeff and Gentry, check it out. You see a lot of Mike. You see a lot of me and Mike on
there. You guys are doing a hell of a job here. When we get back, mailbag time, get your questions in the chat. We'll answer them immediately. But before we do, the best defense on and off the field, Jeff.
I got you. We'll talk about goaltending. Well, on that page of defense, I'll tell you about Guardian Alarm because, guys, summertime's over. Winter is approaching. Fall is here, and you're still spending a little more time outside before winter gets here. So let Guardian Alarm help you out. Let Guardian Alarm give you peace of mind while you're still out enjoying the fall. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Go Lions.
Hi, my diamonds.
Hey,
it's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
And we are back live here on the Morning Woodward Show, 9:53, mailbag time.
How do you not?
Let's just get straight into the chat. Adham, will BYU win? Stop! Leave me alone with BYU,
boy,
Jesse.
Go Cougars!
Get BYU the hell away
Okay,
from
what's
me.
wrong with BYU? They've got very big wins in the past couple years. They beat some very good programs. BYU.
Who have they beaten?
They beat Wisconsin a few years ago. They beat Nebraska, which I'd fallen off the map.
Yeah.
But
Who
who they
else?
beat recently? They beat the team you had to shave your, or was it? It wasn't Oregon.
Baylor?
Baylor,
Baylor.
yeah.
We're hanging our hat on Baylor.
Well, Baylor's a good team. They'll
Adam.
be fighting for the Big 12 at the end of the year. It's gonna
Fish,
be
you're
them
talking
and
about-
Look, every
Oklahoma in the
Mormon gets
final.
their, has
It's-
their day. All right, that was their day. Congratulations, they've won one game in school history. BYU.
I mean, they've won more than that.
BYU.
Okay.
Fish, you're talking to a guy who had to shave BYU in his chest. I think he's forever.
We haven't even
he's
seen
forever
it though.
hate-
How do you know he
he's
did? He
forever
could
gonna
have
hate
just
BYU.
told
That's a
us.
rumor. Never
Yeah.
actually happened.
It's a rumor.
He could have told us
Yeah,
he did it. He never
is indeed a
actually did
rumor.
it.
I
We haven't
cannot
seen it.
confirm nor deny. Let's get into some of these questions. Who do you have in tonight's game, Ethan asks? Miami or Cincy?
Hey, those Cincinnati jerseys
Yeah, I'm going with Cincy. I think you talk about narrative.
look nice.
Cincinnati's got to win this game tonight.
All white
and
jerseys.
on top of that, they're at
all
home.
white hats.
Mike
helmets.
McDaniel
Tua's
is
a little
the
banged up.
absolute epitome of being an damn G. I love him. I love his coaching style. I do think Cincinnati walk away. I mean, Cincinnati is home, correct?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They're
I do-
debuting their
With
white
their-
They're
unis.
all
Yeah,
white.
they're white
I
unis
think
and white
Cincinnati
helmets,
walk
white
away here with a
pants.
31-28 win. They sneak it out.
probably.
Miami come on late. The only way Miami is going to be able to win this game is if this defense either A, shuts down and really forces Joe Burrow to throw 2, 3, 4 interceptions, or B, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle just go off like they did in Week 2 against the Ravens.
And this is I think this is the first time Tua and Joe Burrow have matched up since college. So
It's a tough road game.
It is a tough road
The last
game.
time they played was 2019. Joe Burrow won that game, I believe. Battle of undefeateds.
Yes.
They were both 8-0 at the time.
It was like high scoring too.
I want to say Cincy's favorite
42-38.
3.5 too.
I think it was 44-38 or 44-40, something like that. Regardless.
What do you think, Mike? Cincinnati or Miami?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati has to win this one. They are favored. They're at home. I think Joe Burrow finally bounces back, gives Miami the first L.
Yeah,
But
I'm with you there.
I don't know. Tua's injury kind of scare me a little bit. Who knows how he will be throughout the game. So
Do teams fake that stuff? By the way, we
do you
all
mean?
saw the same game.
They
We
could.
all saw Tua hit his head on the turf.
Okay,
and
there is
over.
an investigation, I believe.
And now
going
it's a
on
back
into that.
injury on the injury report. But he did say it was a back injury. But do you think teams hide that stuff? Because
How
if you
is
say
he
it's a
able to get in
concussion,
Yeah, of course they do.
if it's a concussion, he can't.
hide
I
it.
mean, he's not.
I don't know how he was allowed to go. Again, there is an independent doctor, though, I believe, that clears those individuals
You're right.
from a concussion or not. So it's not even the team necessarily.
Right.
If it was his back, for me, it was he lost coordination. That seems like a brain thing. I'm not sure how, if your back hurts, you stumble like like this. I don't get it. I really don't. Let's see what other questions we have in the chat. What prop bets do you have for tonight? I am going Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and Jalen Waddle over on the yards. Rushing for Joe Mixon, receiving on the other two. Tua Tagovailoa, under on the yards, over for Joe Burrow on the yards, over 1.5 touchdown passes for Joe Burrow. Those are mine.
My
So that
fantasy
means you're
team
the
likes that,
exact
by the way.
opposite
I
what
like
Adam just
Waddle.
told you to do.
I like Waddle to catch a touchdown tonight. I think everyone's kind of shadowing Tyreek Hill because he was talking trash to Eli Apple.
Yes.
So I think they'll kind of be shadowing him a little bit. I look for Waddle to get in the end zone.
It's impossible, man, to stop these two guys on the perimeter. It really is. We'll
Fair
see.
enough.
We'll see.
Fair enough. Let's see. Should the Pistons hire Ime Udoka? No. I don't need him sleeping.
Yeah, because the whole narrative behind that is, they had to make a decision. This was in Troy, by the way. This was, I think, Ed Stefanski deciding between Dwayne Casey or Ime Udoka. Yeah, hindsight 2020, but I think they hired the right guy. In terms of the culture, Ime Udoka's a hell of a coach, but everything that's going on in Boston, by the way, hasn't come out yet, the details of the situation. When it does come out, I think you'll be more than happy that
Although
Dwayne
I do
Casey
think
is your head coach.
By the way, although I do think Cincinnati win, inside, I really want Miami to win. I don't want Mike McDaniel to ever lose a football game. I am in love with him. Dude, he's got what has he got? Those shades on the sideline.
Shades. He's
porn
got
star shades.
Legend.
He is a legend.
Looked like a character out of Scarface.
I love it. I love it. Well, that's it for us. Thank you all for joining us this morning here on the Woodward Sports Network. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Make sure that you are always staying active in the Woodward Sports chat, visiting woodwardsports.com to catch us live Monday through Fridays. Jeff and I will be live tomorrow again, 8 a.m. You know the time. We'll be here. Lots and lots and lots of Lions. We'll preview Michigan and Michigan State's upcoming weekend games. We'll break down matchups between the Seahawks and the Lions and so much more. All that tomorrow, 8 a.m. Make sure you check out Big D today in just a little over an hour at 11 a.m. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Go watch all the footballs. Bye.